Hi, my name is Gareth. In this lesson, we're going to touch on how to use the File Explorer to find, remove, and restore files on your computer. For this discussion, we'll stick with a Windows personal computer. Other systems will have the buttons in different places, but the ideas are similar. You may remember that the Start menu is one way to find many files and applications on your computer. To see everything, we need to look at the File Explorer. There are a couple of ways to access the File Explorer. One, you can right-click the Start button and choose it from the list. Or the pinned icon on your taskbar that looks like a folder is usually the icon for the File Explorer. Typing File Explorer in the search bar will also work. And you can even use the keyboard shortcut by holding the Windows button and pressing E. Opening the File Explorer brings us to a window that looks like this. Here, any recent files or folders we may need quick access to can be found. This screen will look a little different depending on your computer, so don't worry if it doesn't look quite like this. Clicking any of these folders will take us to that location on our computer, and we can view the files found there. Let's click the Documents folder. We can see the Documents folder has many folders inside it, some of which may have been created by applications on your computer. At the top, we can see what's called the directory or hierarchy information. This shows us where we are in the filing system. Documents is a subfolder in this PC, which may be called Home for you. Clicking this PC or Home takes us to the highest level of the directory, where we can see all the folders that everything else is kept in. It also lets us see the current storage usage on the computer. To practice navigating a computer, we're going to go over different ways to move, remove, and restore files on a PC. At the top of the File Explorer, you can find what's called the ribbon, which has many important buttons. You don't need to use the ribbon, but if you're a beginner, it can help. Again, the buttons may look a little different or be in slightly different places on your computer and its version of Windows, so take your time and explore as we go along. The top of the window also has a back arrow for going to a previous folder and an up arrow for going up one level in the hierarchy. In the top right, you can find the Minimize button, which hides the window on the taskbar, and the Maximize button, which makes the window fill the screen. When you are done with the File Explorer, or any application with a window, you can close the window by clicking the X in the top right corner. Let's focus on what we can do with a file. When we select a file, we can see that buttons on the ribbon light up. If we click the Delete button, this will move the file from the sample folder to the recycling bin. You can also click the Delete key on your keyboard to do the same thing. The recycling bin is where the computer puts files until you're ready to get rid of them for good. From here, we can empty Recycle bin to free up the memory the computer has set aside for that file. If we decide we want to put the file back, then we can right-click the file in the bin to bring up a menu that will put the file back where it came from. You can also click and drag the file to a new location, or use the Restore button on the File Explorer ribbon. Here we have some files we want to move to a new folder. You can select a file by clicking it, but what if you want to select multiple files? One option is to use your mouse to click in the window and drag the cursor to make a selection window over the files. When you release your left click, all the files will be selected. You can also use keyboard shortcuts. Select File 1, then hold down Shift and click File 3. This will select both and the file in between. If you don't want to include File 2, then you can click File 1, then use Control and click File 3. This will skip File 2. If you prefer, you can go into your File Explorer's View window and choose to turn on the Item Checkboxes option, which will let you highlight a file by checking a box next to it. Once a file has been selected, we can move it to a new location by left-clicking and dragging it to where we want it to go. Here, we have our sample folder and recycling bin open in different windows and are moving File 3 by dragging it to its new home. Another option for moving a file is to use the right-click menu. Right-click, and you'll see this menu. We can cut a file. This removes it from its current location and puts it on the clipboard, a temporary holding location where it waits while you tell it where to go. When you want to put the file in its new home, you can right-click and choose Paste. These commands are also available through the File Explorer ribbon at the top of the window. If you don't want to remove the file from its current location, you can choose Copy instead. This copies the file and puts it on the clipboard, ready for you to put it somewhere else. You can then navigate to the file folder you want to use and paste the file to its new home with the Paste button on the ribbon, the right-click menu, or by pressing the keyboard shortcut Ctrl and V. In the activities that go with this lesson, there are more resources for practicing how to handle your files. You can practice duplicating and renaming files, as well as how to package files for sharing with others.